Hi, and welcome to this review for Alekon on Nintendo Switch. Today marks the grand opening for eShopperReviews.com. That's right, after years of posting reviews on Reddit and Patreon, eShopper Reviews now finally has its own fully fledged website. And with this being the case, I wanted to kick things off with something special to mark the occasion. Now, while I could do a video review of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom or Super Mario Bros. Wonder, that doesn't quite fit the spirit of eShopper Reviews, to explore some of the best games on Nintendo platforms that not many people are talking about. And as it happens, one of the best games on Nintendo Switch in 2023, Alekon, is a game that I haven't heard anyone mention. So I thought this would make for a perfect game to highlight in this review. Before going on, I should mention that I will be showing content and talking about things that happen while exploring the first area of the game. And while Alekon isn't a particularly deep story-heavy game, one of the most delightful elements of this game is discovering its world, meeting the various characters that live within it, and getting to know their odd quirks and mannerisms. As such, if you want to remain completely unspoiled to this game's surprises, I'll just say I think it is an absolutely superb game that takes the formula of Pokemon Snap and brings it in new, imaginative, and even more creative directions, and I highly recommend it. Alekon is set in a world called the Realm of Fiction, a dreamlike locale populated by creatures called fictions, this game's equivalent of Pokemon. At first, Alekon very much appears to be an off-brand Pokemon Snap, albeit a high-quality one. The world is colorful and full of life, the character designs are creative and expressive while still maintaining some similarities to real-life creatures, and the animations are all excellent. If Nintendo and Namco both decided they'd prefer not to develop the next game in the Pokemon Snap franchise, the developer, the Alekon company, seems like the ideal third choice for such a task. Your early forays into the game play out very much like Pokemon Snap. You're venturing out into a natural environment via an on-rails path, and tasked with taking photographs of the creatures going about their daily lives as you pass by them. You'll be aiming to not only snap photos of each different variety of creature, but also catch them doing different activities. A photo of the sea otter-like Jolly Flipper sleeping is different from a photo of the same creature swimming, for example. With each photo, you'll be rated on a variety of factors, such as how big the creature is in the frame, and the quality of the angle you use to snap your shot. As you progress through the game, you'll get additional items and abilities that allow you to interact with the world in various ways, such as donuts you can toss to the critters, or at them, to give you additional opportunities for more unique photos. What's more, you'll also find interactive elements within the environment that can open up new paths through the level. If you've played either of the Pokemon Snap games, all of this will probably sound very familiar, and if that was all Alekon did, I would argue that this is still a well-made take on the Pokemon Snap formula. However, all of this is just the beginning. Every fiction that you photograph appears in the game's hub area, Dream's Doorstep, where you can walk around freely and talk with them. Do so, and you'll discover that each has their own unique personality, such as the snail-like Orishell, who is obsessed with discovering secrets, and the anemone-like Grumbo, who seems to want to complain about everything, but has a soft spot for music. Then there's my favorite, the Enlightened One, a four-legged creature that believes itself to be the most profound thinker in existence, when, in reality, it's just pondering the sort of questions you would expect to hear in a Philosophy 101 class. Talking to these creatures opens up a whole other element to the game, as each of these creatures has their own tasks and mini-games to participate in. The Orishell I mentioned challenges you to a game of hide-and-seek. The octopus-like Bubbles challenges you to what is basically a first-person version of Pong. And the hermit crab-esque McMoney makes you haggle with him to get his prized treasure chest. These mini-games, or quests, are all varied, often creative, and are more than just time killers. Completing a quest will either grant you a new item or ability, or give you a greater ability to customize Dream's Doorstep to your liking. Meanwhile, going back to the meat of the game, one other area where Alekon sets itself apart from Pokemon Snap is that players who complete all paths through a location are given the ability to freely roam that location, something that many Pokemon Snap players have been wanting to do since that franchise's start. This enables players to take photographs at will, giving them every opportunity to capture the perfect shot. This may be a mixed bag, though. It gives players a great sense of freedom, but in doing so, it eliminates much of the skill and challenge needed to get the best score. Okay, I've spent a lot of time talking about the wonderful things Alekon does that Pokemon Snap doesn't. So naturally, you may want to know, do I think this game is better than New Pokemon Snap, that franchise's entry on the Nintendo Switch? Well, yes and no. I do think that this game has a lot to offer that New Pokemon Snap doesn't. But at the same time, Alekon doesn't have quite the same level of detail and polish as New Pokemon Snap, nor the same amount of variety in the different species to photograph. And I know that for many, the Pokemon franchise and its signature creatures are a draw in and of themselves, and that's a feature Alekon simply cannot provide. However, there is one other element that does give Alekon a bit of an edge: the price. Alekon sells for $16 on the Nintendo eShop, and since its release, it has repeatedly gone on sale. With a low price tag like that, this game is an absolute steal, and an easy pickup for anyone looking for a game in the same vein as Pokemon Snap. In the end, I think Alekon does more than enough to set itself apart from the Pokemon Snap series that clearly inspired it, presenting players with a world and creatures that is truly delightful in its own right, with a wide variety of things to do and new discoveries to be made around every corner. And with such a low price tag, this game is absolutely one that every Nintendo Switch owner should consider grabbing. Well, that's all I have for this review. Please feel free to comment and let me know what you think about this game, whether you agree with what I have to say, disagree, or have your own thoughts to add. Please give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, or a thumbs down if you don't. And if you want to see more reviews, please head over to eShopperReviews.com, which has my full review of this game, as well as thousands of other reviews. And if you want to support eShopper Reviews, you can make a donation at our Patreon, which I'll link down below. That's all for this time. Happy playing, eShoppers.